Yeah, DA Fani Willis basically told me if she had it to do over again, she would still bring a massive YSL indictment. If you had it to do over again, would you bring the same massive YSL indictment?
Yes.
Yes, you heard that correctly. Fani Willis, Fulton County's DA, said she has no regrets about the embarrassing disaster that is the YSL Rico trial. No regrets? Are we sure she's serious? Because from the botched strategies to the outright acquittals, this case has been a complete dumpster fire.
The thing is that, Your Honor, we did not...
You're arguing with me now, Miss Love. So can we stop at this point in time?
How old are you?
Grown.
Okay, what does grown mean?
I'm an adult.
Okay. And when you say you're an adult, what number in years are you?
I plead the fifth.
So let's dive into why this statement isn't just bold, but is just borderline delusional. So first off, shout out to dear woke Christian. He made a video about this yesterday, and I thought can't be serious. The fact that she doubles down on this nonsense. But you know what? Shout out to him. Thank you for providing this for us. His link will be in the description box below. He deserves a follow.
If you had it to do over again, would you bring the same massive YSL indictment?
Yes. There were lives lost. And they're lives that matter. And as long as I'm the DA, no matter your socioeconomic status or your race, your life is going to have value if you're harmed in this community. Do I have any regrets about the YSL case? Obviously, whenever you try a case, you go back and you look at things, and you always have a Monday morning quarterbacking analysis. I think it gets lost on people that many people took responsibility for their part in that case.
Ms. Willis says she is not backing off her aggressive pursuit of gang members in hundreds of cases because it has helped make local streets safer.
I think that any unbiased observer, having watched this YSL case, can't believe that this indictment of the alleged YSL gang was a good decision.
Let's get into this overreach, to say the least. This YSL takedown was supposed to be the crown jewel of Fani Willis' campaign against gang violence. She went big, dragging in 28 defendants, invoking Rico charges, and presenting this as a case that will supposedly make the streets of Atlanta safer. But when you look at the outcomes, it's clear that this case was overcharged and overly ambitious. It was embarrassing. It was chaotic. It was ultimately pointless.
You need to please tell me who you got it from. I'm not asking you sum and substance of anything as of yet, okay? But I need you to tell me how you got the information. If you don't tell me how you got the information, I'm going to hold you in contempt.
I understand, and I don't want to be held in contempt.
And I don't want to hold you in contempt, but this is so sacrosanct to have a conversation in my chambers parroted to you and others. It is that serious.
Yeah. That's why I raise it. It is that serious that we should have been there, and it shouldn't have happened.
Sir, that's a whole separate issue, and that's why ex parte conversations are recorded.
Why would it be ex parte? You're acting like it's ex parte under seal.
It's ex parte. It's ex parte because that's what the state asked me to do. It's just like when you asked me for an ex parte conversation.
I've never asked this honorable court or any court to meet with me and a witness.
Sir, you're straying off the issue. All right, take Mr. Steele into custody, please.
Mr. Williams does not wish to go forward without me being here. You are removing me against his will, my will. You're taking away his right to counsel. And you're conducting material parts of this trial without me present, and I can't learn about it by watching online. So for that reason, additionally, I ask for a mistrial. And I assume you deny, but I'd like you to deny our motions for mistrial. You denied the other people.
I've denied your motion, but I'll certainly take that under advisement, sir.
Why did you shrug your shoulder?
Cut in my shoulders.
What is 372?
Numbers.
Okay. And does the 372 correspond to the letters of DRC on the phone pad?
It could.
Of the 28 defendants, multiple charges were either dismissed, reduced, or ended in acquittals. I mean, think about it. Young Thug, the so-called ringleader, the next big crime boss, according to the DA's narrative, what happens to him? He gets to go home.
Young Thug is now pleading guilty in what has become Georgia's longest-running criminal trial. The plea just announced in Fulton County Court just minutes ago. He's pleading guilty. To some charges, he's pleading nolo contendere, which means no contest. But also, very quickly, it looks like we've gotten here because there was an issue at trial last week where there was this witness who divulged sensitive information on the stand, and there were these concerns that there could be a mistrial.
But we have to remember they had no direct evidence. So a lot of what they were using were lyrics and other things that were being used by the YSL team in order to get this conviction. So in order to build that kind of case, you need a lot of background.
That's right. He's back to the studio, dropping more of that mumble hotness that people like to enjoy. I'm being a little silly here. Some of his songs are actually pretty listenable, but I digress. Other defendants were let off because they're already serving time for other crimes, which means those charges didn't even stick in this so-called massive indictment. So Fani Willis said that she has no regrets, but what's there to be proud of? If your case falls apart like this, how can you claim it was worth it?
And so for all the critics, I'm the one that was elected to this seat. We are going to continue to use Rico where it is a legal way to tell the story of what people did.
Willis highlighted that many people took responsibility in this case, but let's dissect that because it's misleading at best. A lot of those pleas were either defendants didn't admit guilt or outfit pleas where they maintained innocence but accepted the punishment. These aren't exactly the slam dunks that she's making them out to be. What's more, these deals often came from defendants trying to avoid harsher sentences rather than an admission of being a part of a criminal enterprise. It's not really accountability, it's survival. The reality is, if evidence is so weak that you're relying on plea bargains to inflate your stats, that's not a win. That's a problem. Now let's be real, rappers do a lot of dumb stuff sometimes. They brag about the activities in their songs. I mean, just in my neck of the woods, just look at all those drill rappers in the Bronx. Some of them have practically confessed on the tracks. But here's the problem. If you're going to use the lyrics as evidence, you better have an airtight case beyond that, not just the quotes that you found on genius.com. Fani Willis and her team lean too heavily on these type of things like the lyrics as admissions of guilt, and it backfired. This tactic doesn't just attack a freedom of speech, but it undermines the credibility of the entire case. If you're relying on artistic expression to make your argument instead of hard evidence, you're already on shaky ground. The DA's use of rap lyrics was widely seen as a desperate move to bolster an already weak case, and it backfired, and the public wasn't having it, and neither were the juries. Even the jury process was a mess. Let's talk about the logistical nightmare this trial became. The YSL case turned out to be the longest running trial in Georgia's history. Think about that. It dragged on for more than a year, tying up courtrooms, draining resources, and exhausting everyone involved. And again, what did it accomplish? One of the biggest reasons was the sheer complexity of the case. Prosecuting 28 people under Rico laws requires a mountain of evidence, detailed coordination, and airtight arguments. But Fani Willis' team wasn't ready for the challenge. In fact, some of her prosecutors had to undergo training during the trial.
Delays in the YSL Rico trial. This comes after prosecutors learn how to do a better job of disclosing evidence. Now, the entire prosecution team, they spent hours on Monday taking remedial training, which was ordered by Judge Paige Whitaker. They learned the rules of sharing evidence with opposing counsel.
The prosecutor standing in front of me right now, so I'm not going to say the possible things that it could be, but it is baffling to me that somebody with the number of years of experience that you have, time after time after time, continues to seemingly purposefully hide the ball to the extent you possibly can for as long as you possibly can. And I really don't want to believe that it is purposeful, but honestly, after a certain number of times, you start to wonder how it could be anything but that, unless it is just that you are so unorganized that you are throwing this case together as you try it. And I am sorry to say that. But this case is being made much more difficult for everybody because of the haphazard way in which it is being presented.
After multiple allegations of prosecutorial misconduct, Judge Paige Whitaker ordered remedial training for the entire prosecution team.
That's right, mid-trial training. If you're running the biggest case of your career, shouldn't you have a team of experts ready to go at day one? Willis also claims that this case was about saving lives and making Atlanta streets safer. Sounds very noble, right? But here's the thing. The drop of crime rates in Atlanta has been seen as a part of a nationwide trend. Violent crime has been declining across the country since the pandemic ceased in 2022. Fulton County's numbers are consistent with this trend.
The crime rate drop in Atlanta is totally consistent with the crime rate drop across the United States since 2022, since the fall of COVID. There's plenty of cities where the crime rate has dropped more than Atlanta.
What's worse is that by focusing so heavily on this massive case, other gang-related crimes and more clear-cut cases may have been sidelined. Resources that could have gone to addressing immediate threats were poured into a case with such nonsense with limited outcomes. That's not justice, that's mismanagement. Rico laws are designed to take down structured, organized criminal enterprises. They're not supposed to be a catch-all for loosely affiliated individuals. Defense attorneys argued that YSL was a music label, not a gang. If Fani Willis couldn't definitively prove that YSL was an organized crime syndicate, then this entire case was built on a shaky foundation. The misuse of Rico laws set a dangerous problem. If prosecutors can label any group of individuals a gang without clear evidence, it opens the door for abuse, targeting people, targeting communities for no reason. So, in my opinion, Fani Willis should have several regrets. First, overcharging clients and wasting resources on a bloated case. Relying on rap lyrics and artistic expression as evidence, which damaged the prosecutor's credibility. Tying up the court system for over a year with little to show for it. Using plea deals to inflate the case's success rate. Failing to adequately prepare her team for the complexities of a Rico trial. And ignoring the broader consequences of targeting cultural figures and the message it sends to the community. It was embarrassing. Fani Willis' no regret statement may sound bold and double down because it is a political job that she has. She needs to be elected. But when you look at the facts and you look at how the trial came out, it's clear that this case was mishandled from the start. The YSL indictment wasn't the victory she was trying to sell. It was an overreach that exposed the limits of her office's ability to handle complex, high-stakes cases. Instead of making Atlanta safer, it highlighted systemic issues in how gang-related cases are prosecuted. So no, Fani Willis, you absolutely should have regrets. And the people of Fulton County deserve better. But what do you guys think about this story? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for taking time to watch this video. And I'll see you guys in the next video.